The example that you see before you is also located on our class Blackboard. If you have not yet read through the example, please take a moment to pause the video, read through the example, and then return. The purpose of me sharing this with you is to provide a model to think about the ways in which we can put different writers or thinkers in conversation with one another. As you probably noticed, the example comes from myself. This is some of the writing that I've done in my graduate program. And the topic of this particular essay was about transgender people and the logics or the motivation for passing, right? What are some of the things that different theorists are saying about why it is that a person may choose to pass as an identity? So you'll notice that the paragraph begins with a sort of introductory statement or a topic sentence. You'll see that highlighted in yellow. The topic sentence reads, "The promise of neoliberal freedom runs only as deep as the body can bend. Thus, while trans people's desire to pass must be respected and facilitated through access to robust gender-affirming care, the very logics of passing must also be decentered and destabilized. For to leave them intact is to allow the origins of harm to remain unabated." So let's just break that down for a moment. Essentially, what's being said here is that first, we have to affirm people's desire to express themselves and to identify in any way that they see fit. Secondly, at the same time that we're doing that, we also have to begin to question what it means to pass, because to pass is to just hold up some of the same oppressive structures that exist in society to begin with, right? It's letting those oppressive structures off the hook. So that's our introductory statement. From here, you'll notice a number of theorists. The first theorist that we hear from is somebody named Toby Beauchamp. And Toby Beauchamp's quote really sort of talks about the problem of passing as a whole. Next, in blue, you'll see we have two theorists, Joseph Pearce and Susan Stryker, who write about why it is that people shouldn't pass. Instead of passing, they should take on a sort of counterculture visual aesthetic. They should not necessarily try to fit in with the norm, but embrace being what is considered non-normative. As we continue on the paragraph, we get two other theorists, Daniel Silverman and Jasbir Puar, who talk about, well, hey, wait a minute. Being non normative comes with its own pitfalls or its own dangers. So we have to consider why it is that people may choose to pass to begin with, and what are some of the limitations of that. Including the summary of these five theorists sets us up for this bridge sentence that comes at the end. And the bridge sentence summarizes or puts into conversation the five theorists, right? Taken as a whole, these observations highlight the complexities that accompany the construction of the trans self, which further complicates the act of coming out. What this bridge sentence does is it sets us up for the next move, which would be for myself as the writer to assert my own position. How am I going to enter into this conversation of theorists who are already talking about this problem of passing? What are the moral implications of passing? And how is passing affect a person's desire to come out as transgender or to remain closeted? As you examine the model, I want you to think about how you might use the model to think about the ways in which the text we're studying on social media can be put in conversation with one another, and the way in which you will enter that conversation on social media in your own writing.